We will call our Scott County Fiscal Court business meeting to order for August 14th, 2026. I appreciate everyone's attendance, and I would ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Hamilton, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Hostetler?
Present.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Wallace? Mr. Corman?
Present.
Mr. Ellison?
Here.
Mr. Pratt?
Here.
Mr. Livingston?
Here.
Mr. Culbertson?
Here.
Judge Kevin?
Present. With that said, let the record reflect that we have a quorum and can conduct business, take action. The first item of consideration are the minutes from our previous meeting. Are there any questions related to those minutes as presented? Motion. Second from Mr. Jones. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Bills and hand checks as presented. Any question? Motion from David Livingston. Second from Rick Hostetler. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Let the record reflect sheriff's fees from Sheriff Jeremy Nettles in the amount of $55,801.85 were submitted. Let the record reflect that clerk's fees from Rebecca Johnson, County Clerk, were submitted in the amount of $273,305.63. Item 7, let the record reflect that the annual salary schedule was shared with the fiscal court. That leads us to number 8, and that's Darren Broyles. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Judge.
Appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir.
I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, magistrates. I've got the first quarter jail report for you guys, and I've handed it out to you. It reflects during the first quarter, we did not maintain full staffing at the jail, which, as you know, is a constant struggle. We had 27 full-timers. That's out of 30. That's really not that bad. That's pretty good for us. And 8 part-timers at the time. The population today is 133, with 20 inmates being housed in other jails. And the quarterly population highs for the first quarter were January 135, February 128, and March 137 in the facility. During that time, of course, the road crew was busy helping the county with snow removal, and they can't really get out. Got to be careful of the slick roads or the slick conditions out there for the inmates. They weren't really out there picking up trash, but during that time, they did pick up 481 bags of trash, 152 tires, and 4 needles. Also completed work for the State Highway Department and the county, which mainly for the county, it was snow removal around the courthouse, helping out the road department with snow removal around the courthouse and the areas downtown. On the net device during this quarter, we had a total of 8 persons that went on to the net device. And unfortunately, 3 of them did not continue use or did not complete use. Now, one of them was a medical issue. 3 out of 8 is a little bit high as far as proportionally speaking compared to what we're used to. One of those was a medical issue. The other 2, one of them did not like the conditions, the standards, which are explained to them up front. But once they started using it, they did not like the restrictions that they were on while using it. And then the third one, I can't remember. Of the 5 that completed it, as you know, we reach out quarterly to these individuals to see how they're doing as a follow-up. And out of those 5 that completed it, 2 we can't reach, which is not altogether unusual either, because this particular segment of our population is very transient. They change phone numbers, they change addresses a lot. But of the 3 that we were able to contact, they're doing well. No cravings and all positive. And as a matter of fact, in the last few weeks, we've had 2 inmates contact us to reach out to thank us for the opportunity to do the net device at the jail and wanted to express thanks to the county for that. One of them had completed, I think 20 months is how long he had been since he completed the net device. So that's a pretty substantial amount of time, closing in on 2 years that he completed the net device with us, one of our early users of it. And he's still being successful, no cravings, and no issues as far as drug use. The other one was a female. She had used it 14 months ago, and she's doing well. She's got a full-time job, a management job at a fast food place here in town. And she told the staff member at the jail that she spoke to that she feels like it saved her life. So thanks to you guys for supporting the program. I thought it was important for you all to hear that. Any questions on the quarterly report?
David Livingston.
Yeah, when following up with that, is there any kind of follow-up of, like, are they changing their surroundings? Are they changing their social life with, moving away from folks that might not be the greatest influence? I mean, what?
So we don't get into that with them.
Okay.
Basically, we reach out to them and ask them how they're doing. Have they experienced any cravings? Have they gone back to using? Those are the big questions that we've been asking. We don't get into that much of the minutia of asking that much.
Okay.
So I do know for a fact that some of them have changed their surroundings, and that's a huge benefit. That's an obstacle when they get out, going around the same crowd, having the same friends. So changing their surroundings is huge. And I do know that some of them have changed their surroundings, but I don't have any specific data on it. And we don't kind of retrieve or mine for that data.
Right.
Darren, on the every day in there, do you kind of have a ballpark? Like,
Off the top of my head, I would say the average, you've got to understand that 90% of them that are brought in are released back out. So we don't hold on to very many. The judges release them back out onto the street, either through bond or whatever. And so that, I feel like, skews the number down a little bit. I don't have specific data. I'll see if our software program down there
just curious
has
about
that.
like how long are you keeping the same inmates over and over again?
I would guess. Now, we've got some down there, Dwayne, that have been there for years.
Okay.
That have capital charges.
Sure.
And those charges are so severe, rape, murder, robbery, that they take time to work themselves through the court system. The bond for those individuals is usually higher, so they don't usually bond out. So we're usually stuck with those individuals. But it's not a really huge number of individuals that we have down there for those capital crimes. I would, off the top of my head, say the average stay is probably around 20 days or something. Okay. 15, 20 days.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I will check
nice
on that, though, and get back to you, okay?
Be nice if the state reimbursed us.
Amen.
I mean, that's the reality of it.
Yes.
Just from the day they come in until they leave us or adjudicated, whatever.
Right.
But just if they would reimburse us for those individuals that are in that category.
Absolutely.
But
Yep,
they
I
don't.
agree.
They don't start doing that until they actually get the
Till final sentencing.
final sentence.
Yeah. And even then, final sentencing, so they can plead guilty or be found guilty of a capital crime. But they do start reimbursing us, so that's a plus from what the judge just touched on, when they're reclassified as a state inmate at that point. But they're still not in any big hurry to get them out of our facility.
But that time period, once they're found guilty, we might hold on to them for who knows long.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just because of a bed of wherever the state wants to send them might not be available. Is that right, Darren?
It might be that. I would say it's partially them looking for a bed, but quite honestly, the state gets a bargain housing these inmates in county jails. It costs them, I would guess, probably $75 a day to house an inmate, and they're reimbursing us 30-some bucks a day. So they don't really have an incentive. They're supposed to get them out within, I believe it's 60 or 90 days, but they drag their feet on it and have the entire time I've been jailer.
Just quick
Ryan Pratt.
Just one quick question. The one that didn't finish because they didn't like the restrictions,
Yes.
obviously not the medical one, and I don't know about the other person. Like, right, like that's $3,500. That's, you know, two people potentially that want it that can't get it now because they just didn't want to do it because they didn't like the restriction. At least this one.
Yes.
Like, have you worked with the net device people? Like, so did we just lose that one, or, I mean?
We do. Unfortunately, once we hook them up, we're getting charged the full amount from net device. I can talk to them and see if somebody bails on it a couple days later, is there any way we could get a prorated rate or something? But up to this point, once they're hooked up, we're charged for the full amount, whether they continue or not. And that's why we try really hard, Ryan, to vet these individuals to make sure that they're wanting to do this for the right reasons. Some of them think it's a get out of jail free card or just going to look good in court. Their heart isn't in the right place. And so we really try to go through a vetting process with them to ensure that A, their heart is in the right place, and well, mainly that their heart is in the right place and that they're wanting to make a change in their life. This particular individual that didn't like the standards, they're made aware of the restrictions while they're on the net device. They're made full aware of what the restrictions are, because I don't want to be just blowing county money by not properly vetting them. If we're not telling them up front what kind of conditions they're going to be under while they're on the net device, then we're going to have people bailing on us left and right. They need to know up front. And the restriction in this case, the particular restriction, was that he's isolated. He was isolated. And that's a safety thing. That was something right out of the gate that I wanted the individuals, because these devices have cords. They're not cordless. And so that presents some hazards. The device have batteries. That presents some hazards if in general population. So they need to be isolated. But we also tell them as we go through the vetting process, you know, this is just for a short period of time. It's very idiosyncratic to the individual depending on what they're using, how much they're using, how long they've been using, as to how long they'll be on the net device. And the longest amount of time that somebody's been on it down there, I think, has been about 10 days. No longer, I think, than 10 days. So it's a relatively short period of time. And the isolation, when we isolate them, we try to make them as comfortable as possible in there by giving them a couple of kind of bennies or extras while they're in there to try to soften the blow of being isolated. So anyway, but this particular individual, he couldn't take the isolation, and
You would think that the reduction in withdrawal symptoms would outweigh that, but like, just maybe we could talk to Kelly and
Yes.
see if there's any prorated opportunity there if going forward. You know, so she's.
I do want to reiterate, you know, 3 out of 8, and it's kind of slowed this year a little bit, the use of it. So 8 over the 3-month period is a little bit down, and we've continued that trend this year, the rest of the year. But 3 out of 8 not completing it is unusual, and that is not the norm. But I do think, I mean, it's worth the conversation to have with Kelly.
Yeah. So you and I spoke earlier this week, and there's 2 remaining funded treatments.
Yes.
And I sent an email to Kelly, and then Kelly has got back, and you know, the thought process was to talk today about, you know, is the pleasure of the court to consider another amendment to the agreement and fund some more treatments. And you know, from your position, do you continue to see this as a valuable tool that assists not only the jail and staff, but also the individual that is experiencing the withdrawal symptoms and the
Yeah, I think overwhelmingly it's a positive tool for us here in Scott County. Obviously for the inmate, a potential life-changing opportunity for the inmate. And, you know, when we started the percentage, I think that Net Device quoted us was a 66% success rate. We're experiencing much higher than that with the ones that complete use of the device. And so the 5 individuals, of those 8 from this first quarter, the 5 that completed use of the net device, I can tell you they haven't been rearrested here in Scott County. So that's a plus. I see it as
5 haven't been.
The 5
they haven't been back to your doorstep.
That's right. The 5 of the 8 that completed in the first quarter have not been rearrested, and 2 of those 5 have a very lengthy, close relationship with us. And so I see that, especially those 2, but all 5 not being there, just a big win. And as you touched on, Judge, really, for it to reduce the withdrawal symptoms, that's good for the inmate while they're in our custody, but it's good for us because I consider that less of a liability.
Absolutely. So Rick Hosteller wants to make a comment.
Well, you were going to say something?
No. We will, during new business, we can discuss if the court wants to consider an amendment.
Yeah. Well, I was just
And I
going.
wanted to ask Darren that before we got there.
Yes, I appreciate that. Well, since we're having this discussion, and I think David was kind of going down this road about what their lifestyle looks like, and I'd say that's hard for you to get into, right? But
It is.
so my wife and I are still, mainly my wife, because it's mostly ladies, and probably the lady you're talking about that's, what'd she say, how many months?
14 months?
Yeah.
Yep.
That lady is probably in our group. That we meet, we're still meeting once a week with some folks. Mainly my wife goes every Tuesday, and sometimes I go if there's going to be a guy there that's been treated. And that's what we're finding out, David, is they still need what these other programs do without the medication, even the legal stuff, the methadone and Suboxone, because the device takes them off of that too. And so they still need that follow-up, and they don't know how to live. I was sharing with the judge this morning. It's really sad. These young ladies, a lot of them got young children and even babies. And if it weren't for Mary Safe Haven, that place stays full. And I don't know how she does it, but she's helping a lot of ladies. First of all, they got a roof over their head. Plus, she's providing programs and counseling and stuff, but they look at us. We've met with them one week, and there'll be a lady there, and she's in line to get treated. And the next week, it's almost a different person when we walk in there and sit down with them. And I'm sharing this with no names. I'm pretty certain the lady you're talking about is a part of this group, and it's been radical for her. But there's still it's a lifestyle to come out of that. I mean, it's a chore.
We notice, just like you touched on, Rick, we notice a physical difference, not just a demeanor change, but a physical difference in their appearance after being on the net device.
But they're still as broken a week later, because most of the ladies, most of them are coming off of methadone or Suboxone, which is a legal, it's a treatment. It's a approved treatment.
Right.
And it's okay. It keeps them off the dirty stuff, the street drugs. So they're getting a protected product when they're taking methadone or Suboxone. They know it's not cut with anything, right? So that part's good. I'm okay with that. But with this device, it takes them off of that, and so their demeanor changes, their actual countenance changes in that week's time. Because most of the ladies that we talk to, it takes 3 or 4 days. Yeah. And I remember KET came to the jail over a year ago and did interviews, and one of the inmates was a guy that was in his 50s, been using since he was 15, and he said it took 8 days, and he was on a litany of stuff when he came in, and I don't know that guy's name, but
so I do know that guy's name, and that guy is the guy that I just referenced that has been 20 months clean, and I wasn't going to use his name, but he started using drugs as a teen and had been on drugs his entire life. So I mean, that goes back to what you're saying. They don't know how to really exist out here in regular day-to-day society because their entire life has been drug use in that world. And so 2 of the 5, I know 2 of the 5 from this first quarter report, 2 of the 5, one of them had been using for 20 years and one had been using for 22 years. And those are of the 5 good ones that completed use of the device and again have not been back.
Well, the part that I'm trying to highlight is that follow-up is still needed.
It is.
But most of the time, if you go to a program and you're not willing to be medically assisted, which is methadone, Suboxone, Vivitrol, I'm learning way too much about that stuff than I ever wanted to know, but I do still want to help these folks. But if you're not willing to go down that path, those folks don't need it. They don't even need to get it offered to them. Otherwise, because they're going to go, do I need that still? Because
Right.
we've actually had ladies say that to us. And I go, well, that's up to you. Do you feel like, well, I don't have a craving. I said, well, you don't need it. But
Right.
they still need this help to get their life in order, I guess, for lack of a better term.
And a key component we did not touch on that I would like or ask for you all to still continue to support is, the net device is great. It does not keep or prevent anybody from getting out and making a bad decision again. I really feel that the rehab follow-up that we have offered in the past, where we had a relationship with, most recently, Isaiah House, I really feel like that is super important. That is like the whole ball of wax. That is the net device jump-starting them towards a normal life, and then the follow-up of rehab to kind of maybe get to the points or counsel them on the points as to why they started using, or to help them with getting some life skills together to be successful. I feel like that is really needed also. And I know it's sporadically that when we do our follow-up questions after treatment, we ask them as part of that, are you interested in going to rehab? Because that was part of the deal originally that we had put together here. I would really like for y'all to consider still offering that. It's not a lot of people. In the last 6 months, I think we've sent 2 or 3 to that follow-up rehab. But that is just, in my opinion, really giving them 100% the best opportunity to be successful.
I agree. Any other questions, comments? Darren, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Library Board appointment. Elizabeth is with us today. How are you? Glad to have you with us. I was at the library earlier this week, and you're doing a great job, and the library's a busy spot. So, also, we've got a name. There's 2 names shared, Matthew Wagner and Dan Miller, but the individual that would be a reappointment that is the preference is Matthew Wagner, and it would be a reappointment. The term would be 7/1/26 through 6/30/30. And any questions or comments for the library trustee appointment?
I'd make a motion, Mr. Wagner. Second.
Dwayne with the second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Elizabeth, thanks for coming. And one other shout out, the Tyler Story Time this summer with the big dinosaur. That was a big that was a big thumbs up with my toddler grandson. I didn't go, but he talked about it. Big dinosaur. So that was a big, and then just really real positive feedback from the young lady running that program. So always good to share positive, because Lord knows the world gives us as much negative as we can stand.
Judge, y'all take him to the Creation Museum. They got one of them big dinosaurs right there in the entrance.
Need to do it. So with that said, ordinance 2607, second reading, repeal 9211, Sheriff's Office Merit Board. I am going to ask Cam to share some comments from some conversations he's had, and then Sheriff Nettles is here right now. Would you like to? I would defer and let you lead off if you would like, Sheriff Nettles, and then take any public comment, and then we would read the summary of the ordinance after that, and let you all ask questions and go from there. Sheriff Nettles, good morning.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, magistrates. So I just wanted to touch on a few things. Mr. Willis back here has really brought some things to my attention, and I've spoke with some of the magistrates and Cam Culbertson. So one thing that I've found out and knew that we were already operating under the Police Officer Bill of Rights. These rights are kind of redundant when you think of the Merit Board. In 1998, we started to receive the Kentucky Law Enforcement Foundation Program Fund. And it lays out step by step in which investigations are handled by any agency that participates in that fund. And I'll just lay it out real quick on how that process goes. That, like, we've received a complaint, whether it be an internal complaint or a citizen complaint. The agency investigates that complaint and gathers the evidence. We give the deputy 48 hours notice that he's under investigation. And then the agency will decide, excuse me, then the deputy will be questioned. The deputy does have the offer or the chance to have counsel present during that hearing. We've then decide whether the agency if there's good enough evidence to move forward with the investigation and support the allegation. The officer receives notice of that we're going to move forward and is given at least 12 days written notice of a hearing. That hearing is held, and I am the hearing authority. At that point, if the deputy and their attorney are not happy with the decision made by myself, they have the ability to appeal that decision to the circuit court. And that hearing can then be held with the circuit court judge with the final decision made. So that's kind of the way that we operate now under disciplinary actions. So I just wanted to lay those steps out for the fiscal court.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job doing that. And I guess I would add, I called and talked to Rich Ornstein with Keiko yesterday, and he pointed out, quite frankly, I didn't realize this, that the Police Officers Bill of Rights statute was amended in 2018. I guess prior to that, it didn't necessarily apply to sheriffs and deputy sheriffs.
Correct.
But after the amendment, they put a section in there that any agency getting that CLEP funding to which you referred are subject to that.
Correct.
So it's statutory.
Yes. Yeah, I was able to look back into the records and just see from what I was able to locate is that Bobby Hammond's enacted this, that the sheriff's office started to receive these funds in October 1998. So after the passage of this ordinance. So it's, to me, this ordinance of the Merit Board and operating under the Police Officer Bill of Rights are kind of redundant.
Questions or comments?
One other thing that you had in that response from Rich, Cam.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not sure that I totally understand it, but you will.
Well, I may not have written it that well, to be honest.
Well,
Yesterday
no.
afternoon.
I think you were kind of quoting Rich.
Yeah.
No, it's not,
Rich or me,
David.
right?
Don't say that. Rich has always provided,
Yeah.
solid information.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to find it here real quick. However, per my discussion with Rich since 2018, the sheriff's office, what Sheriff Nettles just said, he said, where did it go? I'm sorry. I've just reread it. It was about where his constitutional, because he's a constitutional.
Yeah. Well,
Where is that statement?
my guess is where you're going with this is, a sheriff is a duly elected constitutional officer. And under-
Rich was cautioning against
Yeah, under
something.
KRS Section 70.030, that, the sheriff has the right to appoint deputy sheriffs at his or her pleasure, and they can do that in the absence of the Deputy Sheriff Merit Board. So I think there was some concern expressed by Mr. Willis and maybe others that there be some due process or some procedural protections for deputy sheriffs, if that board is eliminated. And I think where we landed on this discussion is there are those in place with this Police Officers Bill of Rights. The other thing I guess I would add, and I think I sent this in a prior email, is that just the court ought to consider that under the statute, the function of the Deputy Sheriff Merit Board does not simply pertain to disciplinary review. And honestly, I don't want to speak for Sheriff Nettles, but I've talked to him, and if it did, he might be okay with it. But it also is heavily involved in appointment and promotional process. There's a provision where they're supposed to hire an examiner, and that's. If that board stays in place, that would have to be part of it, and you'd have to ask, is that efficient or a good way to operate? Because that's a big part of the statute that we really hadn't even discussed publicly. So I'll shut up. I think that's all I had to really share.
Here's the sentence. It says
Yeah.
it would be a statutory and constitutional issue.
Correct.
To attempt I'm assuming that means
So I think-
us to attempt to constrain this power.
Yeah, I think there was a discussion of, well, could Sheriff Nettles agree to, like, put some sort of board, like, if we repeal this, could he agree to put some board in place where if he makes a disciplinary issue or decision, could the fiscal court review that or whatever under the grievance procedure? And, like, he might be able to do that voluntarily, but ultimately, he's the sheriff, he's a constitutional officer, and that's what that statute says, that's what the Constitution says. So I think Rich didn't really think that would work. But, you know, again, that's why you have this police officer's Bill of Rights. So under that, he makes decisions, there's a hearing process, there's all that dues process, and if they're aggrieved, they can appeal it to circuit court. So that's a separate
And,
body.
and it can go as far as the Court of Appeals.
Yeah.
After that,
So instead of fiscal court, it's a judge looking at it.
yes.
Ryan Pratt,
After I got the email last night, I went through and read the Bill of Rights, and I'm not going to repeat everything you said. I think, based off of that and the merit board, I think it could really cause some confusion of which process should they use if, you know, there was to be an issue. And I think that,
The Bill of Rights is statutory.
yeah, the Bill of Rights is statutory, and I think it's a much better process than the merit board, because then they can go to this, you know, to the court of law, to the circuit court, all the way to the court of appeals, and it's laid out with, you know, they have counsel. If they want counsel, they get 12 days notice and everything he said, so I'm not going to repeat all that. So I just think it's a much better process even than the merit board, and I think it gets them, you know, to the same result that they wanted with a, you know, an outside opinion. And that outside opinion would ultimately come from the court of law, which at least I think is probably better than an appointed merit board. So, I mean, because at least the court of law is, you know, those are judges that are voted on for the people, by the people.
And it's enforceable.
And it's enforceable, right? I mean, a merit
Yeah.
board, so I'm going to say, I think the merit board causes confusion. I think the Bill of Rights is very clear, and I think it's very fair. And so I would be for disbanding the merit board just on that, because I think it's a much better process, and it's in the law, so.
Well, it wouldn't.
oh, look, David wanted to speak, and then I'll go
I
to
was
you.
just gonna say, the merit board wouldn't matter regardless, because I mean, that's what you have to go by, is the KRS, right? I mean.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's what I was asking.
I think you probably raised a good point that it could create some
substitute the
confusion,
merit
or
board
it
for
creates
a state law.
two
Yeah, I think it's very
parallel-
confusing.
Two parallel processes.
You can do more, but you can't do less.
Do we need to read it, or do you need a motion?
I need to
Well-
read the summary, but.
Okay.
He can read the summary, but we do need to have public comment before we move forward.
No, I really don't have a whole lot more to add, but, I mean, these instances at our agency are few and far between that ever rise to something that would need any type of an appeal. I think these protections that the Police Officer Bill of Rights are adequate and give the deputy the chance to have his case heard by somebody outside of our agency. But
The circuit court judge is,
Judge Maddox.
yeah, oh, absolutely, but my point is, there's not going to be any concern about favoritism or you know, someone not getting a fair shake.
Correct. I agree.
Well, we had a little issue in Stamping Ground with that a few years ago, and he brought up the Bill of Rights, and he used that process, and it all worked out for the good, so now I can see how the Bill of Rights, so the Bill of Rights would actually supersede our merit board in a way you could look at it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge.
Would there be any public comment?
Thank you.
Good morning.
Judge, thank you, magistrates. First, I would ask the sheriff just one question. If he can tell me, provide me with a reason why he does not believe, or he believes the merit board is not a process that he can live with.
You know,
I know he's a constitutional officer, and he doesn't have to tell me, but
I would
okay.
prefer that you address comments to the fiscal court, and I don't, you know, I don't want to put people on presumption of being like on trial or having to justify a stance. He shared that he supports removing
He did.
the merit board process because he because of really the statutory placement of the police officer Bill of Rights.
Well, I have read the Officers' Bill of Rights front to back many times since this first came up last month. And I do not, because that's where I was referred by the Sheriff's Department to read it, and that's what we're going to go by. That Bill of Rights does provide for a process. It does not provide, in my view, a fair process. Because the sheriff, either the sheriff can make the complaint, a deputy can make a complaint, a citizen can make a complaint. It goes to the sheriff. He will determine whether the complaint has merit to go investigate. And then he or she, in the case, will determine who is going to conduct the investigation. And the investigation is conducted, and the investigation is placed back on the sheriff's desk. And the sheriff will determine what the punishment's going to be. And of course, during all this process, the Bill of Rights does say the deputy needs to be notified and give right to counsel and this, that, and the other. Those are great rights, but they have no teeth, because the sheriff can, or the deputy can challenge it, and it goes back to the sheriff, and the sheriff has ultimate authority as to what the punishment is. It's no appeal. There is an appeal to circuit court, but that appeal is not whether the discipline was just, or whether it even occurred. That appeal is were there any administrative violations that occurred during that LEOBR process? And if there weren't, it stands. So it's not being reviewed by a judge to determine whether it was the deputy did it, the deputy was given a fair, this punishment is fair and equitable, there's no bias, there's no personality issues. They don't get to review that. They review whether there's an administrative violation. And if there is none, it's done.
Wouldn't you say that?
Let me read.
The case in almost any agency, though, in America, though, like whether it's schools or a corporation, you know, the CEO of any, you know, due process is usually the person, you know, just the superintendent is the hearing officer in many cases, and goes through the same processes. The CEOs of a big company with the HR type of directors goes through the same process. Ultimately, all you can offer is that process, and to say that a person would not have legal steps after that, even after the circuit court, you still have the ability to sue and go that route as well as a person, just, you know, on a private type of situation.
Improper termination.
Yeah, wrong, I was going to say wrongful
So
termination.
there's always more steps for you and more protections for you to go farther. You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else we can. I mean, because if this is not, if the Bill of Rights is not fair for Sky County, it's not right. It's not fair for the rest of the state either.
And I don't say it is.
You know, but so that,
Let me
so
read
that,
what it says. Or go ahead, David. Do you have something?
Yeah, David. Did you have
No, I was just going to say that the fact of the matter is, if it's not a fair process, the Bill of Rights, that's something to take up with the state. We can't do anything about that, because that is statutory. The legislature passed it.
And been here since 2018.
Right. And if it is statutory, then county ordinance cannot trump state law. State law stands in front of county ordinance. So even if we chose to keep a merit board and somebody went through that process and they're not happy with the end of it, then they go back to the Bill of Rights. And it starts the whole thing all over again. So the merit board, I can see before where it was a needed process. You know, it's unfortunate that we all don't get in our jobs the whole scenario that the Police Bill of Rights offers officers, because there are personality conflicts in every industry, and we don't all get that ability to follow that kind of process. So state law cannot be trumped by local ordinance. And so why would we carry two processes where one of them is not going to be upheld if they choose to go to this state law and to use the Police Bill of Rights? I think it's duplicative. Also, the other things that come along with, I actually talked to Rich Ornstein as well. The other things that come along with the duties of the merit board become a situation where counties in the past have not appointed the merit boards. That's one reason why in 2018 the sheriffs were brought under the Police Bill of Rights, because counties and fiscal courts may not have kept up with appointing those things. And then when there was a termination and the person says, I want to appeal to the merit board, there was no merit board. So there are a lot of things that go along with this, that is one of the reasons why they brought the sheriffs and the sheriff's deputies into the Bill of Rights, so that everyone is following a common process and everybody knows exactly where they stand in that. The other thing is, too, if you keep the merit board in place, you run the risk of more lawsuits, because you may make a decision over here that doesn't correspond with what they're supposed to get by law over here. So I would rather follow what is in statute as opposed to create our own ordinance that would be trumped by statute anyway.
Well, interestingly, the statute, the Bill of Rights is a statute, but so is the authorization for the merit board is a statute. The state provided the counties at their option to basically input this merit board over their sheriff's, to review the sheriff's department disciplinary process. There's two processes, both authorized by the state. And I'm trying to think of the other thing. You said something.
I usually say a lot.
No, just, it came to me while you were saying it. I've forgotten it now, but
Mr. Willis, we respect and invite your engagement and understand that you support, from your background in law enforcement, you support the merit board process. Is there anything else that you wanted to share specifically about?
I brought up to, I brought up to the sheriff when I met with him. I said, if there's any heartburn within this process, rather than throw it out just because you have the heartburn, analyze it, determine what it is, and amend it. Rather than throw it out, just figure out what your problem is, amend it, take Mr. Livingston, you said something about citizen review. I think that's when you were talking. If that's the fundamental issue, remove it.
Well, here's my biggest issue with the process is that the sheriff is a duly elected constitutional officer and has the responsibilities for that officer or for that department. And for a outside merit board that doesn't to be involved in the promotional process, that's part of it. I don't support that. I think day in and day out, the boots on the ground of the administrative team and the leadership in the sheriff's office should make those decisions. And that's why that's one of the biggest issues I have. And I don't think you can slice and dice. As you said, it was placed as an option in statute. I don't think we can slice and dice and just pick and choose. That's why I think I've heard from my colleagues that just having one process is much cleaner. It still affords due process. If someone feels aggrieved, they can go to circuit court. And then if they can appeal it from there to the Court of Appeals. But they also have a civil route that they can go as well if it's that egregious, if they think it is. So that's my 2 cents on it. And I don't want to, if there's anything else that of substance that you want to share, we understand that you support that process and respect that.
I don't necessarily support the process of the merit board. I support the rights and review that it provides the deputy. Because someone on the fiscal court years ago determined that there need to be some kind of control. And I'll also tell you that there's only 3 counties in the state of Kentucky that have this process. And actually soon to be 2. Boone County, which I found very interesting when I went on the website. The Sheriff's Department website had a link to their merit board. Their sheriffs were proud of it. The fiscal court had a link to the merit board process on their website. So it's not hidden, and they use it. And their process is 20 or 37 pages long. Ours is 7. So if you read theirs, there's much more detail than ours. I cannot remember the county, but there's another county that got rid of it because they said it cost too much. It was $1,200 a year. And I'm just saying, is that for, if I was before them, I'd say it's $1,200 a year too much to have due process rights. And I question, and it's very apparent that how you guys are going to vote, and that's fine. You have the absolute authority to do so. But I question whether the law enforcement officer's Bill of Rights, as you provides due process at all. And you're correct. It needs to go to the state. And I'd be more than happy to move my campaign to the state. That's not a problem. But I have a fundamental issue with removing fundamental due process rights that we already have in place. And I agree with you that the sheriff is a constitutional officer, and he should have control, but he should not have autocratic control and total decision-making process. I respect the sheriff, and as I said in my letters, I will vote for him in November because I think he's doing a fantastic job. This sheriff is not my problem. It's the sheriff from 1991 and 92 that is my problem. And eventually it's going to be your problem. And I just think a different process. And the last thing I'll say is rather than removing this process and removing the due process with a promise to implement something else later on is the wrong way to do it. You should stay this reading or vote against it, one, and then come up with a process, implement it in the same way you can repeal this and replace. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You want me to read it?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to read the summary. Scott County Fiscal Court Ordinance Number 2607, an ordinance repealing Ordinance Number 9211, which created the Scott County Deputy Sheriff Merit Board and dissolving the Deputy Sheriff Merit Board. This is a summary. 1, finds that the continued operation of the Deputy Sheriff Merit Board is no longer necessary or desirable, and that repealing the ordinance establishing the Merit Board will promote efficient administration. 2, repeals Ordinance Number 9211, entitled An Ordinance Related to the Creation of the Scott County Deputy Sheriff Merit Board pursuant to KRS Chapter 70, together with all amendments thereto. 3, dissolves the Scott County Deputy Sheriff Merit Board. 4, provides for retention and disposition of records of the Merit Board. 5, preserves the validity of prior lawful actions taken by the Merit Board. 6, contains a provision on the employment status of deputy sheriffs. 7, repeals conflicting ordinances. 8, states that if any section of this ordinance is held invalid or unconstitutional by a court of competent jurisdiction, such decision shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. 9, takes effect upon passage and publication. The full text of this ordinance is available for examination at the office of the Scott Fiscal Court Clerk, 101 East Main Street, Georgetown, Kentucky, 40324. Introduced and publicly read for the first time July 23rd, 2026. Publicly read for the second time today, August 14th, 2026.
Any other questions or comments? Would there be a motion?
Second.
Second from Ryan Pratt. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. Road Department new hires.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I don't see JR today, so, okay. Well, JR and I spent some time interviewing people the last week or two, and we're very pleased to recommend two people to the court. Nicholas Utterback will start on August the 31st at $20.07, and he's a Scott County graduate and has a couple years of related experience. In addition to him, we have Ahmad Ahed. He is also being recommended for equipment operator and labor and he has a CDL. His start date will be September 14th at $26.72 an hour. And the very positive thing is that with him having a CDL, he can start helping with snow removal this winter. So I present those two recommendations to you. And we still have one vacancy to fill in the department.
One vacancy?
Yes.
That was my question.
Would there be a motion? Motion from Rick Hostetler, second from Dwayne Ellison.
Judge, the second person, I'm not in favor of hiring. I just don't. I've read his resume, and seems like he's been an office worker most of his time. I've not seen anywhere where he's operated much equipment at all. And I feel like if we keep doing this and hiring people just because they have a CDL, our morale at the department's going to keep going down. And I've had these complaints from some of the guys out there already, and I feel like this one here would really make some people get upset.
Well, he's been operating flatbed trucks in his current job.
But he hasn't pushed any snow.
Okay.
There's a big difference between operating a flatbed truck and pushing
Don't
snow.
we hire a lot of people that never pushed snow like that before?
Well, I think we have, and I think that's been the problem.
It's hard to find people.
I think the pool of snow pushers is gonna be really small.
I mean, that's my opinion. Y'all have a vote, that's just my opinion.
I didn't push snow either until I had to.
That's true.
So,
Broke a blade or two along the way.
If we could just vote on separate, I'm gonna vote no on.
so we had a motion and a second to approve both of them. So how do we back out? Well, I think we need to amend the motion.
I'll do that.
Would you withdraw your motion
Yes.
and withdraw the second? And then would there be a motion to approve Nick?
Utterback, yes.
Now, he's an equipment operator.
But he does not have a CDL, so we have to go through training to acquire his CDL.
Yeah. Now,
So.
but he'll still push snow with a smaller truck, correct?
Right, and he'll have to get his CDL license, and he'll learn on the job.
Yeah. So there's a motion and there's a second for Nick. Any other questions or comments? All those,
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry,
I initially had Rick and Dwayne. Who is it now?
We'll do it the same way.
Rick and Dwayne.
Okay.
So any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, the second gentleman's name is
Yes,
Ahmad Ahmed?
Ahmad Ahed.
Okay. Would there be a motion to approve his?
Well, I got a comment.
Yes, sir.
So I've heard some complaints just like Rob has. But I also know the seriousness of being prepared, because winter's coming. And Rob's correct from what I saw. He's not pushed snow, which is a big deal. And even though he's got a CDL, it's a big deal. I've never pushed snow, not with a big truck. I've done it with, tractor, but preparedness is what I'm thinking about. This fellow we just voted on, you have to start somewhere. Sometime you got to get in a truck and push snow, but I kind of got the same concerns as Rob, because from what I'm gathering from some of the conversations I've had, there's always two sides to every story.
How many conversations have you had?
A few in the last couple of years, actually. So, but I'm looking at, you got a guy that's got a CDL, and maybe apparently he hasn't pushed snow. And I don't think they're beating down the doors. I mean, are you Are you able to interview? Have we got a lot of
It's
candidates?
not very common that we have people apply with CDL licenses.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it's August, and so I'll make that
Let me,
motion.
so you have a motion?
Yeah.
I'll second, and that's second, because I trust our training, hopefully. You know, that's JR's job to take whoever he does
That
it,
too,
and
yeah.
whoever he is comfortable with. I mean, he was a part of the process of hiring.
Well, and JR's not here, but one of the things we talk about during the interview is he's got, I think it's 16 or 20 routes in the county, and then everybody goes through rigorous training of those roads in good weather, so they're aware of all the culverts and bad spots on the roads and places where you could
And you
catch
start
the.
somebody, you know, on an easier route when you first start, and all those things.
So,
Right.
just for the record, JR sat in on both interviews,
Absolutely,
and
yes.
JR supported both?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a motion, is there a second? All right. Any other questions or comments? Then all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
So duly noted?
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. With that said, then, we will move forward with EMS promotion.
Okay, Chris is here. Of course, we're very pleased to have another person internally that's moving from an EMT position to a paramedic. So that's a very positive news for us. She's been with us pretty close to 2 years, so that's another piece of good information. Her promotion will be effective, I had in the email August 17th, but that's not the first day of the pay period. The first day of the pay period is August the 15th, which is tomorrow, and the new pay will be $19.66 an hour.
Questions or comments?
Are they being promoted to an open position?
Well, they're staying in they hold one of the positions. They're just being promoted from the EMT to the paramedic position.
I get that, but if there's not an open paramedic position, are we promoting them? We're just promoting an EMT to a paramedic just to have to fill more spots?
Correct, yeah. There is no, so we anticipate in September that we're losing one of our paramedics for deployment for over a year. So it's not, we don't have abundance of paramedics. So this young lady finished our paramedic class and just completed her.
So she can work, her qualifications and certification qualifies her to work. Your question, Ryan, was, we are allotted so many paramedics.
Yeah, we have so many paramedics, so now we're basically adding a paramedic above what we've allotted. So this will create an EMT position as well?
No, it won't. We won't backfill that position. We would run a double medic truck before we would open up and hire an EMT to backfill.
I'm just trying to think of budgetarily wise. So now, we budgeted for so many paramedics, so many EMTs, but now we're not adding personnel per se, but now we're paying more medics at a higher rate than we would pay EMTs, so it could eventually.
Well, and what they do, if I can speak for you,
Sure,
Chris, is they try to keep an eye on the ratio of EMTs to paramedics. And so if a person moves into a paramedic position, the next position that we would fill would probably be an EMT, not a paramedic, so that it would balance out.
Yeah, I'm not against, I think running dual medic trucks is amazing. Do it, if you can do it all day, do it all day. I'm just thinking budgetarily wise, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Long term, we budgeted this many paramedics, this many EMTs, but now we're promoting, which is great. I'm not against that either. I just think we have to think long term, what's it do to our budget if we just keep promoting people to paramedics and even though we're not backfilling spots, it's still more money than what we've budgeted, so.
I don't think we'd ever have a situation where we'd have all paramedics on staff.
The option is to discourage professional growth.
That's right.
And leave them.
I'm not saying that
cheaper.
either. I'm just saying we have to think
I'm
about,
I'm just pointing that out. If I would much rather have professional growth and figure out a way to pay for it than have someone that is in a position that's like,
well, I'd much rather, if I need an ambulance, have a dual medic truck
Yeah.
respond as well. So,
Absolutely.
I'm just thinking budgetarily wise.
Okay.
I'll even make a motion.
Motion, second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Fire Department Training and Travel.
Do you want me to wait for new business? I had one more request. I can wait.
Let's just do a hand check.
Hand check? We'll do that in new business. Yes, sir. Then we've got Fire Department Training and Travel. Revel, how are you?
Morning, everybody. How's everybody this morning? We come to you today for approval for some out-of-state training. It will be for Captain Mark Bennett. Captain Bennett applied for the National Fire Academy Managing Officer Development class. It'll be a 2-week class. It will go from September 13th to September 26th. The good news about all this, class, travel, and lodging is no cost to the county, so it's all through National Fire Academy.
Second from Rob. Before that, though, have we ever had any staff do this in the past?
Not this class that I'm aware of.
So, back to David.
Where's it located?
Emmitsburg, Maryland.
So, but back to David, like professional growth, promoting, so,
And like I
and
said,
then at no cost. I
Right,
mean,
he had to fill that application and actually get accepted for this, so it's a pretty big deal.
Well, kudos to him. Being a,
That motion down there, Kelly or Dwayne?
I think I did.
so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you all.
No, thank you, Revel. How's our recruits doing in training?
They're doing well. Today finishes week 6, so we're chopping away at it.
14
Yep.
total.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
October the 7th will be graduation. You all be invited, so.
All right. Appreciate you. EMA, training and travel. Mike Hennigan.
Morning. I have requests for 2 different instances of training and travel. First of all, we'd like to send Deputy Director Kraft to the IAEM conference in Long Beach, California. That'll be from November 13th through 18th. The county would be paying for airfare and hotel, but we expect to be reimbursed for that after proof of attendance. Kentucky Emergency Management is providing some scholarships as long as they see the value that we've actually gotten the training that they're paying for.
So it'll net out zero.
Net out zero, correct. And then the second one is
Long Beach.
Long Beach,
Like, that's not Peoria, Illinois, or
No.
or Scranton, Pennsylvania.
No, it's a national conference. They rotate it around. It was in Louisville last year, Long Beach this year. It'll be in Colorado in 2027.
Yes, sir.
So,
Would there be a motion? Motion from Rob, second from Rick Hostetler. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
all right. And then second one, myself, I'd be going to the National Healthcare Coalition Conference in National Harbor, Maryland, December 1st through 4th. The Bluegrass Healthcare Coalition has a piece of equipment. It's called the Water on Wheels cart, basically a water purification system, and we've been selected to present that to the national conference. So the State Health Department is paying for us to travel. It's absolute zero to the county. They're paying for airfare, flight, hotel, and everything. So,
Got a motion? Second from Rob Jones. My request is just maybe some like crab biscuits
You got it.
on the way back. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
thank you.
Yes, sir. Mike,
Yeah.
would you give the court just a short update? Like, it has been with the company that does the tornado storm shelter, it's been a very long haul and difficult process, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Is that correct?
Yeah. Light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not an oncoming train this time. We originally expected to purchase the shelter and have it installed in early April. Some sort of jurisdiction argument between state building inspection, local building inspection, and the engineers out of Alabama. So everybody finally got on the same sheet of music within the last 10 days. The manufacturer said that they are at a point where they're ready to ship it. We're just putting together the last pieces where we'll flatten the ground and scrape off the grass that's grown in the last 4 months. And then my expectation is that they'll be handing us the keys to a functional shelter in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
And those that shelter will be adjacent to the present shelter. And just reminding everybody that, like many times that shelter's been activated, it's been standing room only. And
We've actually had to, have people outside because there just wasn't any room.
But the rest of the story is the public-private partnership with the Sawyer Point management, it's up to $75,000.
Correct.
And they'll be paying that $75,000 portion of the total cost.
Right. And the other piece of that is the new shelter is going to come with a propane generator so that we can have the lights turned on to both of those shelters a whole lot earlier. Right now, we're depending on solar and batteries, so we're having to wait till the last second to turn the lights and the fans on because the batteries get depleted, and if we have to go to an extended response, then it turns into a sitting in the dark situation. So it'll be nice to be able to turn the lights on very early and have people access it if they wish to.
I just wanted to share.
What's the occupancy on both of them now?
They stick around the wall or what we're actually doing.
Whatever you shove in there when the tornadoes come.
Yeah, the one that we have right now has an occupancy of 92. Like I said, we don't stick to that. The new one, because it's a private purchase, not a FEMA grant, we have done a ADA bathroom delete, so that'll be more likely 115 to 120 on that one. So.
Appreciate it.
Judge, one more question.
Yeah, sure.
So in that, because I can't remember all the details, it's been so long when we talked about it to begin with, so that installation of that propane generator is all part of this?
Yeah.
And tying in the existing is all a part of?
Correct.
Okay. I thought it was, but
we're going to have a local electrician put us on the grid because it's going to be tied to a electric meter all the time and then kick over to the generator if necessary. So it'd be a small expense, but we plan for that ahead of time. So.
Is the generator mobile?
I've got extra money.
Is the generator mobile? Like, do you leave it there, or does whoever's going take it with them?
The bid spec called for a mobile generator that we would deliver on an as-needed basis. It was more cost-effective, and both of the competitive bids came in with a permanent Generac generator that is bolted inside a steel cage, theft-proof, but permanently connected so that we're not making connections on the fly or.
It'll have a transfer switch?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Thank
you. So we'll move on down to new business. Change order, TP Mechanical. I will give you an update. The TP Mechanical is, trying to wrap up the first floor, and they have been working very hard. They've been here for quite a while, and I've gotten to know those guys, and they have done a good job. TP Mechanical has, in my opinion. And this is the same situation on the first floor and in the basement of these condensate pumps that are required. There's no way around it. And the total for the first floor and basement for TP Mechanical is $29,789, and then there's an additional $14,760 for labor and material for the Brent's Electrical Solutions to run the electric to the pumps, etc. This has been reviewed by Shrout Tate Wilson, and they believe it is an accurate request. So, what questions or comments would there be?
I make a motion to go on, approve it, because it has to be done.
Yes, sir.
There's no way to drain them.
Yes, sir. So we have a motion. I appreciate that. Second from Kelly. And so two recusals. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move down to that tennis tech proposal that's in front of you. We are now members of the Purchase Pro. We have completed that, and this proposal is through that cooperative purchasing agreement. And as I shared yesterday, the numbers, we were still trying to include some fencing numbers, and the new numbers that I shared there on the proposal I'm trying to find my notes from yesterday. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, but I corrected the number. So, they had to adjust their acrylic surfacing number from 58,871 to 61,571. The net posts, net center anchors for 6 courts is 15,000, stays the same. And the pickleball lines were actually, for 6 courts, were actually already in the base price. But then they had to adjust, as I said and shared yesterday, they had to adjust the fencing cost and the gate cost. It went from 5 gates to 8 gates of what they had on the proposal or the drawings from Branch Carroll. So that switched to 107, 437. And then as part of the proposal, they will install 2 inches of DGA over the milling. Then they will laser grade it. Then Hinkle will come back in and do the asphalt piece. That's the way this is being done. And that gives us a total 208,854. I did not include the mobile pickleball nets. I want to circle back to that later. So all I'm asking you is to approve that proposal that you have there, and the real number is 20. No, this is just, I had shared preliminary numbers, and this is the actual numbers. So would there be any comments or questions? And then JR's team, they did the demo, saved us real money there. And then the milling, I believe, is completed by Hinkle. So this sets the table for Tennis Technology to come in and do the surfacing and such. Any questions or comments?
Just what is that screen they put on the fence? You know
The
what
windscreen,
Well,
we don't have any windscreen on here, but we can get some costs for that.
I didn't know if we needed it up there or not.
I don't think you do.
You know more about those
It's
courts.
always tearing and blowing down.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to, I think you want to be able to see in.
Yeah.
You know, you usually do that when you don't want to see in.
Okay.
Well, Tim put it out there at
Pickleball
Great,
courts.
because that was requested quite a bit. But like, it's a wind tunnel out there, and
Blows off all
Gets
yeah.
filled up all the time.
Now he's got it.
expensive too.
He's got it. Like he got stainless steel, those stainless steel like zip ties, and finally got it wrangled up. And then he is still got to do a little additional support on one post. But we can look at that if we want to add it down the road. We can talk about it. But this doesn't include that. Good question. Would there be a motion? Motion from David.
I'll say.
Second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next, there's a KYTC inmate work cruise renewal that Darren shared. Darren, do you want to speak to that?
Darren shared it with Cam. Cam reviewed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you all have it. It's a renewal. It's the same thing we always do.
You remember that as 2 or 3
Yep.
weeks ago?
Yep, it's a 2-year contract with the state. This is where the state reimburses us when we go out and perform work for the state. So when I mentioned that in the quarterly report or in conversations that I have with you guys that we do work for the state highway department, which we do, it could be picking up litter, weed eating, mowing, things of that nature. That is reimbursed back to the county. So we are reimbursed for the deputy's time because we always send inmates out with a deputy. The state, under this contract, reimburses us back for the deputy's time, and they even pay for the lunches for the inmates, and they pay mileage. So it's a good deal.
Yeah. State's gonna give us some money back for something.
Yeah.
For the jail.
Motion from Ryan Pratt,
Motion second, whatever.
second from Dwayne. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Next item will be, we have an EMS invoice and a hand check that just came up. I'll let you share that information.
Thanks, Judge. Good morning. Just a request for a hand check. I didn't get this up in time to Stacy, but it's just the monthly tax that's due on our ground ambulance provider monies that we get from the state. It's a monthly bill. We're just trying to avoid a late fee. There's no additional money. I just need to get a hand check.
And the
for it.
amount of?
$11,140.
Okay. And that's to the,
It's to ground ambulance provider. It goes to the state.
Okay,
It's
goes to the state.
Kentucky Treasurer, yeah.
Motion to pay.
motion Kelly, second Rick. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed, motion passes. Next item, as I shared, and Jailer Broyles presented and talked about the net recovery. I shared that there's two treatments left on the current amendment agreement with net recovery. And I asked Kelly Dykes for another amendment, if you all wanted to consider that for more treatments.
What's, so two until when? We have two left.
Like just two, period, like
That we've paid.
that we've paid for, that
Yeah.
we've got, that
Authorized.
we've authorized.
Yes.
So when does that renewal though, the next round of them?
That's what he's asking.
That's what I'm doing. So if you all wanted to, like, we've approved 20 in the past. If you wanted to approve 15 at 3,500 apiece, it'd be 5,250. And you all could authorize Cam to review the amendment and me to sign it when it
When did we
comes.
do it last time? Like, how many?
We did this last time,
I think we've done 4.
it was 2/13/26 when we did this one. And we did 20 in 2/13/26.
We went through 18 and since February.
Do we pay for that out of the opioid?
Out of opioid settlement, and there's $414,000 in it.
And I would say we spend that money, it seems to be very successful, and I don't know, with the pleasure of the court for treatments, what did we do, 20 in the past?
We did 20 in the past. I just stuck out, it's $3,500 a piece. If you want to authorize 10, you can authorize 10. If you want to do 15, 20, whatever
That's
y'all
good
want.
for a year?
No, it's.
Till they run out.
Until it runs
Till they
out.
run out.
Okay,
We'll be coming back for another amendment as soon as you run out. So
right.
And then along the lines of what Jailer Broyles was talking about, I also think that the net device, the net recovery piece reduces the effects of withdrawal symptoms, but coupling that with some wraparound services and people checking in on them, trying to connect them to jobs, trying to help them stay in the right direction is something we need to look at, because that we have that money, and the last IOP we had, that did not, it was not successful. We'll say that. And
How long did that last 20 get us through?
it started 2/13 of this year, and we have 2 left.
So 6 months?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would suggest we do another 20.
That's what I was thinking.
If we don't use it, we don't use it, and if we
So-
need it, if we need
so-
more, we come back.
So would your motion be to authorize Cam and myself to sign it, an amendment to the agreement for 20 additional?
Unless somebody has a different opinion, I'd make that motion.
There's a motion.
Second.
Second from Rick.
I don't have a different opinion. I'm fine with 20. I do have a question though. What is our long-term plan though, right? You said we have 440,000, give or take, left, but we also pay for our community paramedic with some of that money. We also pay for the 2 counselors at the second.
We're no longer doing that.
We're no longer doing that. But even at, this money's not gonna last forever. If we used the current pay rate at $3,500 a person, we're looking at 120 more people, so we're talking 3 years, give or take. And I know we're gonna get more money, but it just doesn't seem that $3,500 a person is gonna last long, a long time. So is there a chance for us to work with NET to train our Southern, I forget, who's doing the medical at the jail?
Southern Health Partners.
Southern Health, can they do it? Or can we train jail staff to do it to get that cost down to extend it out longer because
I would say net recovery would deny that. We can ask, but net recovery, it's all proprietary. I don't think, but.
It's still worth a discussion.
No, it's worth.
I mean, I think we're gonna have to do something because we're gonna run out of participants, especially when you have people like the one person that got on it and was, didn't like so we just threw that person out the window. Like we're well, I mean, not literally. We didn't throw them. We threw that money, that device, so we're here now voting on another $52,000 or $60,000, so.
This would be, if you do it, if you did 15, it's 52.5. If you do 20, it's another.
I would just say that, I get it, but I'd spend $50,000 over 6 months if we're saving those two. Those two people, 20 months, 14 months, have saved and given back to the community more than that 52,000. So even when the money runs out from the opioid,
I'm trying to extend
find a way
it
to keep funding those type of.
But the piece that I still think we ought to look at is, like, how do we maybe look for a contract with someone that will wrap around services to our individuals that are being treated, just like what you said, and see if we could fund that out of opioid money. So that's a piece of homework for us to do. And
I think that can be.
Oh, I know.
Well,
I think it was
finding the right
settlement money.
Finding the right organization.
Matching it up.
I think the thing too is there's still a lot of money at the state level. A lot of money. And I think we possibly need to go have a conversation with the Attorney General's office, because I think that's who has the money.
You're correct. That's who sets up the statewide.
Totally correct.
And go talk with him about, I'd much rather be investing in our folks in this than, was it Ibogaine, the mushroom treatment? That's just another drug, really?
Yep.
I agree. So we have a motion, we have a second.
Can I
Any other
just-
questions or comments?
Judge, can I interject
Oh,
just real
yes, sir.
quick? Net Device has not raised the price on us either, since we've been using it. Other counties do not have the opportunity to get it at the cost that we're getting it. And that's just because we were the first county and we kind of helped them get started with it. And they have been kind enough, I think, to not even raise the price to what they're asking other counties to pay.
Good point. Appreciate that information. So we got a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, guys.
And then, would there be any other new business?
Yes. I think you guys remember we had a presentation by Mr. Marshall about they're looking for funding. I think it's $7,000 that you guys are looking for. I think they've also are in conversations with City Council for an obelisk, did I say that properly? For a former governor that's buried in the Georgetown Cemetery. I think there are 2 other governors there, three total. This gentleman that this obelisk will be for is the only one without recognition of this type of tombstone. And so he made that presentation last week. I think most of y'all heard it. Judge, I was just going to, that we go ahead and make that initial investment of $2,500. I don't think that'll break the bank. Again, they were talking with the city already. Usually the city comes along and matches us. And then you're also talking with tourism and the museum. So
The total cost now is $10,500.
The museum's money is your money.
that's true too.
Question down here, I saw.
No, sir. That's all I was going to say.
So there's a motion there for $2,500. Second from Rob Jones. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. With that said, is there any other new business?
Judge, I got one thing down to
Rob
down to
Jones.
pickleball courts at Great Crossings. There's a lot of water standing on that one end. Is there any plan to do
I'll go down there
something
and check with Tim and,
Seems like it's always there every day I drive by.
all right, I'll
Through the drier days.
Can you put a squeegee out there for the Rob to get out of his truck and squeeze it out?
Well, it's in the grass area, Dave, it's in the grass.
It's not on the court.
It's not on the court, it's in the grass area.
Let me check with
On that
Tim.
one, on this end up here.
I'll take with Tim. No, yes, sir.
Hey, you know, I didn't know nothing about pickleball, but it's amazing to drive by there on a Friday and Saturday night and see all those kids out there, and grown-ups too, out there playing. It's amazing.
I'm like you, but we'll check on that. Thank you. Any other new business?
I don't have any new business. I'd just like to say, I wish Sheriff Nellis was still here. I actually talked to him before the court for a minute. As a lot of parents, such as myself, we're doing our celebratory drive with our kids back to school on Wednesday. We'll call it a parade, if you will. I just wanted to, our SROs, at least at Scott County Middle School, we had 2 out directing traffic, doing a great job, and it's good to see them out and protecting the students and the working public. And I just wish all the SROs and teachers and students a great back to school. I will speak for a lot of parents, so glad school's back in.
I appreciate that comment, and I agree with you. Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion. Second. All those in favor? We are adjourned.